truth, right? Took about our weakest ingenuities off the spectrum. Anyway, as for why I brought you here, long story short, people with problems pay me to find solutions. If an operator needs cover, I find someone to turn out the lights. Ninetales need a package delivered, no questions. I find someone to deliver it. Some Griff needs to be taught a hard lesson. I find someone to teach it. Now, what I'm hoping is that sometimes that someone I find is going to be you.
Yes, so we have unlocked the Rudo missions. Now, we did this on stream on Saturday, and more on that in a little while. But what happened was, I think, as far as I've seen, as far as I've explored, there are 3 tiers of pirate missions. And the first tier is the basic ones that everyone sees. The next tier, you have to basically complete the mission where you shoot down the satellites, and then that triggers the next layer. And then what triggers the Rudo mission has always been a bit of a mystery. Having now replicated this twice, I think the trigger is actually shooting down the satellites. Now, I could be mistaken. There could be some random factors in there. I had completed some missions between unlocking the first tier and unlocking the third tier on this playthrough. And it appears that there is no specific mission that was unlocking it, but after a while I had gotten bored and I had gone back to Grim Hex, and the skimmer satellites were out, and so I shot a couple of them, and then I got this mission to go meet Rudo, and you're basically seeing me complete the starter mission, which is you go and you dispose of the corpse, which as usual I just end up leaving in my cargo hold and flying around with. Not at all dark. But then Rudo says, hey, let's meet. And yeah, you get down there. For the last little while, I've been flying around when I've been going into Grim Hex and doing missions. I'm actually going to the back door of Grim Hex and parking my ship there and just floating out. So that way I don't have to use the elevators, and that way I don't have to worry about the parking problems, because it seems, I'm sure that a lot of you are playing 3.2 will probably have experienced the same thing. You request permission to land, and as you're landing, your permission to land is rescinded. The system is broken, so I've just been floating outside the back door of Grim Hex, and then I would just, I was about to say slide on in, but obviously that would sound very dirty. So yeah, I go in and I complete the missions that way, carry in the objects, all that. I don't even bother with the elevators anymore. And I'm also flying the Avenger Titan. You may notice. One of the viewers made some comments about the Avenger Titan being a really good ship, and I hadn't touched it in a long time, but I do have one in the buyback tokens, and obviously we are not anywhere near, a position where everything is final, so I can still afford to shuffle some stuff around. So I brought out an Avenger Titan and gave it a try for the day. And I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I would have to say now that if you were looking to get into Star Citizen, absolutely bargain basement and pay next to nothing to get into the game, or to pay the least amount possible and still get a solid ship. The Avenger Titan is a pretty damn good ship. I've always been someone who's kind of meandered away from the Avengers. I look at them and yeah, sort of, but I didn't like the fact that in the previous iterations you were always hunched over when you were walking through it, and it was very clippy and very glitchy, and so it was always something like that I just kept as an LTI token. I'd never really thought of using it seriously as a ship, so here I am using it seriously as a ship, and it's a pretty damned good ship, man. I have enjoyed it. You can carry cargo. It's got a ramp. There are no stupid stairs, so you can carry, a package in. You can complete a wide variety of missions, and that's one of the things that I have found is because, missions are the way they are. You know what? One sec. Let's let Rudo speak here.
It's
Okay, so we got this mission, the Spaceway robbery, but very much to what I was saying earlier, because of the way the missions are dynamic and you don't know what missions you're going to get, what ends up happening is sometimes you don't want to have to change out a ship every single time to get a different capability to do the mission. And at the lower tier, I find that the generalist ships are perfectly serviceable. And so the Avenger Titan, I think, is a ridiculous steal. I think it's a very, very good ship, and I have been enjoying the hell out of it. And so I would say, if someone was sitting there going, I want to get into Star Citizen, I want to have a good ship, but I don't want to spend a lot of money, I'd say get the Avenger Titan. Get the get whatever game package, just upgrade it to the Avenger Titan, done deal. It's a solid ass ship and a decent amount of firepower now that the guns have been upgraded too. And that's one of the things that with a lot of the lower end ships, one of the problems that they have is that their firepower is, especially in the current iteration of the game, because things can change, it is fairly piddly. But the Avenger Titan really does kind of pull through. I've messed around with it for an entire day now, and I found it to be a very competent, very enjoyable ship to play, and obviously not a very expensive ship. So yeah, I would have to throw a big recommend on this ship, especially in its current iteration. It has been a lot of fun to fly. Now, of course, this mission here is just another example of one of these missions. I got to go take out some bad guy and then retrieve the cargo from that ship. So it's one of those missions where you really need that added cargo space, and a straight up fighter, though it would obviously shred this thing to pieces, wouldn't have the capability to carry cargo around. So I think that a generalist ship, especially if you're just getting into the game, is probably the way to go. Baseline, though, of course, my first love is still the Cutlass, but that's much more expensive. Now, overall, 3.2 certainly does have its bugs. It does have its problems. It does have its issues. But it is a far superior experience playing the game right now than playing 3.1. The biggest problem that I have found, really, is not having any mission. I'm sure many of you can relate to the screenshot I've got down there in the lower right of opening up the contracts page and finding 0 contracts available anywhere. And that is often the problem. It seems that you almost have to get onto a server that's either freshly been restarted or opened up to get any kind of missions, and very quickly those missions disappear. So unlocking the next tier of missions is a very difficult thing to do. I'm not sure exactly what delineates the border between what gives you the next mission and what doesn't. But what I have experienced is the fact that if you're doing the pirate missions, it seems like when those skimmer satellites pop up outside of Grim Hex, shooting them, even if you don't have the mission to shoot them, even if you're not even on that mission, seems to trigger the next tier of pirate missions. And that has seemingly worked out for me twice now. So I kind of feel that that's the ticket. And once you get to these higher tier missions, of course, these are missions that other players don't see. These missions don't become visible to you until you attain a certain reputation, even though we don't have any, chart or numerical values that shows us what our reputation is and how to build it up. It's all very much, you have to kind of go and feel it out and see how it works. Once you get there, you find that you now have the freedom to go and do these missions because other players simply just don't have access to them, so they can't see them, so they can't really compete with you in doing them. Now, with that being said, as for the streaming on Saturday, the streaming on Saturday was kind of more or less a spontaneous thing. I had kind of toyed with the idea of, in the past, of doing a version of ship updates on Fridays where it would just be live, but then I thought, well, that wouldn't really work because, one, you would have to announce it days in advance, and if you did do something like that, certain people wouldn't be able to participate, or a lot of people, because there may be viewers in Europe who want to watch it and participate, but then there would be viewers in other, North America who would watch it, and then, would they want to come back and rewatch the VOD after the fact? And, you're just trying to generate spontaneous conversation and hoping it comes out into a show. And I thought, it's probably not going to be it. And overall, in general, I don't ever want to stream. And the reason behind that is because there was a streamer that I used to watch a lot of who played World of Tanks. And I told this story during the stream. But just for those who didn't watch it, because it's like 2 hours into the stream, I think. One of the things that one of the things that he had said during the stream, and this was going back a while ago, is that, he was playing on stream, day after day after day, playing World of Tanks, and he wanted to play other games, but he would lose his audience, so he kind of felt trapped by having to stream that one game. And I never really want to end up in a position where I feel like I'm trapped by the game I'm playing. So, yeah, streaming is not something I'm going to do all that often, maybe here and there, and definitely not something that I would, kind of throw all my eggs into that basket. For those who do it, fine, that's great, but it's just something that, when I actually play, I like to have that kind of time to me. But it was a fun thing to kind of hang out with you guys over the weekend and play around just a little bit, so who knows, I might do it here and there from time to time. But anyways, hopefully you can use this information to unlock the higher tier pirate missions for yourself, and so that way when you get into the game, you will have something to do, and hopefully we will very quickly get a patch that will kind of iron out a lot of these problems and make 3.2 an even better patch. Anyways, that has been the show for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.